Oh, hello everybody. This is Jim Bridges, and I'm the president of the Australian Cartoon Museum. And here we are with
Thomas Rayner.
And we're doing cartoon conversations where we have a gas bag about cartoons.
This week's or the week that's gone. Cartoons.
The best of.
Okay, we've got Mother's Day happening last weekend.
Remember Mother's Day. And here we are, we have Mark Knight, and I'm okay, dear. I understand you're not allowed to visit me on Mother's Day. Yes, I did receive the lovely flowers. Unfortunately, I was putting them on a nice vase when that Dan Andrews came on telly.
Can they send some more roses on TV?
Yeah. Yeah, and a TV. Yeah, I like the cat. Look at the cat looking at the roses on the ground. And the little hot coffee or tea she's got there.
I think she was slightly upset.
To the number one mum, she's cut off the rose tips, as they do, and there's Dad on the wall. He looks more like a policeman than a soldier, doesn't he? Yeah. And there's obviously the kid who she's talking to.
The young son ears and the
big ears. Yeah.
So anyway, one mother who's not happy with Dan.
Dan the man.
And Peter Macmillan, Sunday Mail.
Adelaide.
And Mother's Day restrictions. But come on, kids, where's your breakfast?
It's a list of conditions and restrictions.
Maybe the breakfast and bed's not allowed.
Yeah, she's a pretty good, she's a pretty young looking mum, isn't she?
Yeah.
You know, her daughter takes after, obviously.
Excellent. And because we all read about the NRL players who claim to be anti-vaxxers, and Mum says, "No, you're going to have it."
To get me for Mother's Day.
And when I said, "What do you want me to get for Mother's Day?" I meant, obviously she's a footy fan.
And he's got the anti-vaxxer tattoo on his arm.
Yeah.
And he's got the symbols. Yeah. And that's Warren Brown of the Daily Telegraph.
I don't know who he is, but
well, I just think he's just a general player.
Yeah. A generic player.
Well, not really, but yeah.
Okay, and then Craig Mann, that's the same thing.
Yeah, the Gold Coast Bulletin, NRL flu vaccine.
At least we found a way to get some players to tackle.
Yeah. I don't see how they can play. How do you social distance playing rugby? It's ridiculous.
Well, maybe you just run up and say, "I'm going to tackle," and you drop the ball. Or the referee blows a whistle and you play on.
I think Australians are more addicted to sport than alcohol.
Yes, definitely.
More NRL. Oh, more flu vaccine. Oh, yes.
Yeah. And they're complaining about the flu vaccine when they all the bears, the drugs and the cortisone
and the endones.
Yeah. So the
and all the drugs for his sore knee, and all the empty cans. No way, my body is a temple.
That sounds like a pretty lame excuse if you ask me.
Yeah, Johannes Leake, the son of Bill, the
Done
Australian.
a good job there. Done a good job. And, of course...
the best of Warren.
The NRL is saying somehow our mascot isn't connecting with parents. Is he snorting, drinking, cohorting, and beating up somebody?
He looks a little bit like Frankenstein.
Yeah, so a bit ragged there.
Yeah, and of course the police, the loose woman, and the court, the barrister, they're all in his way because that's all mess he makes.
And it's not not like you call a role model.
That's right.
Oops. And Peter Broman, the AFL.
The Geelong
last
Advertiser.
Weekend, yep.
Yeah, what 2020 season feels like, because they haven't made up their mind when they're going to start. So the ball's bouncing all over the place, which is very funny because that's what happens to a football anyway. And what's his little cat saying in the corner?
A ball's up.
It's a balls up. Yeah. That's a very funny cartoon.
Yes. Very
And it's
well
the
done.
fan. It's not the footballers. It's the fan who's got no idea when it's going to happen.
Well, we do know now, later
Now
in
we
the
do.
week, it's
Yeah.
going to happen in July. But they're all going into the
Yeah,
Gold
but
Coast.
NRL is going to happen first.
Yeah, they're all going over somewhere else. Okay, here we have the Chief Medical Officer in response to the COVID-19 protests in Melbourne.
Yeah, last Sunday.
Sunday week,
Yeah, Sunday, yeah.
And 5G causes COVID.
Yeah. Arrest Bill
COVID
Gates.
is a conspiracy.
Yeah,
It's a hoax.
yeah.
The app is crap. Arrest Bill Gates. Poor old Bill. I feel rather sorry for him.
They got cabin fever. Yeah, and he's saying we're still no closer to finding a vaccine, and then he thinks for stupidity.
Yeah.
And of course, the girl in front who's holding Arrest Bill Gates, she looks a lot like she's from...
Is that a vaccine for stupidity? COVID-19.
The woman in the front with the Arrest Bill Gates sign, she looks like a refugee from earlier night cartoons of the Collingwood cheer squad.
Or maybe they got no footy, so they go out and protest. That's what they do on the...
Well, I wonder, I mean,
season.
if when and if they do find a vaccine for COVID, I wonder what's going to happen to the anti-vaxxers.
Well, yeah. Will they take it or won't they?
Yeah.
And Kathy Wilcox, she's having a go at the protest too. Freedom to cop.
What do we want? Any excuse to get out of the house. When do we want it? Now.
I downloaded this US sign. 5G causes COVID-19.
Freedom to cough.
Communist globalist hoax. Okay.
Vaccine
Bill
cause gays. My wife is sick of the sight of me.
I think people have been locked down too long.
I missed the footy. What's this thing about 5G causes COVID-19? I mean, I can understand if they were complaining about radiation or something like that, but it's a virus.
I think we had very similar things with Wi-Fi when that first started. And microwaves and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
but a virus, I mean, like, you're talking about an electronic virus or a physical virus?
Well,
I mean,
think electronic one. Maybe we've got to wear...
No, but how
tinfoil
can
hats.
something become manifest? I don't know. I can understand about radiation. I really can. And I think we're all going to be paying a bill for that pretty soon with all our phones and stuff. But 5G for COVID? I don't know.
No.
I don't get. And there's
I
some pretty
think it's a bit of
intelligent.
a stretch,
There's some pretty
isn't it?
intelligent people actually pushing that particular barrel. You know.
Yeah, it makes you wonder sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan's finally letting the golfers have a game.
He's letting go.
Easing restrictions on golf and fishing and hunting, but I don't think cricket or
Not
football
cricket yet or football. That's right. They're in the bag at the back there.
Yeah.
And he's on the first. He's on the
So
first.
that's the first lot.
Yeah, but he's on the first green,
Yeah.
and he's throwing his he's throwing his golf thing away. And if you're not careful, they can both kill you.
Yeah. It's not bad. I like John Spooner.
Yeah, John Spooner, the Australian.
Okay, Mark Knight also on about, he said they practice it naturally. Social distancing. If you're not in the rough, you're in a bunker. If you're not in a bunker, you're in the lake. So you don't need to tell them to safe distance.
No,
They
no.
do it already.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
Except
good
for
on
the
that.
end of the game.
Yes. Well, that's the 19th
You
hole,
get
isn't it?
you get the impression that Mark Knight doesn't play golf. You get that distinctive impression.
Quite
It is. It
possibly.
is flog spelled backwards. You know,
Oh, okay.
they're doing a lot of flogging there, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay, Vale Jack Mundy, a union member, a union guy from 1929
Well, the
to
man who changed
2020.
what unions could and should do. Well, back in the early '60s, I think it was '60s. They were going to pull down parts of the
He
rocks.
started a whole green movement, didn't he?
Yeah, because unions are always looking after their own, their members and stuff like that, and health and stuff like that. But he says, no, we have to look after our heritage as well. So you can't pull down these buildings and put up new ones in this area.
Otherwise, the rocks would have ended up like docklands,
That's right, and you get a lot of people who got
glass
behind him.
canyons.
You got behind him, and he actually stopped. And of course, this kid who doesn't know anything about it is just saying, "Wow, you mean people could win against developers in those days? Wow, you know." And yeah, there he is. There's Jack Monday by
Yeah, John Shakespeare.
and he's got the old leather jacket on and the hair and those terrible ties we used to wear and the colour shirts we used to wear. I wore all those things. Oh.
Like their bad laws were broken with boldness and a spirit of sacrifice of the class, and the false barrier placed between trade union work and political activity was smashed.
That's right. That's right.
So they did. Unions do have a conscience.
And I like the machine. It looks like a great big.
Yeah, it looks like a dinosaur.
Gonna chew him to bits, but no, you know,
He stood up to the developers.
yeah, and he dragged a lot of people kicking and screaming in the union movement behind him. They didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
and then
Well, it was all about saving their jobs, wasn't it?
well, it's always been that way, but it's just that this is saving our
Yeah.
heritage as well.
There's a man who stepped up and said, no, we've got to look after.
Yeah. Although he
Yeah.
had a lot more hair than that, if I remember, he had a lot more hair, and all the photos of him were always him getting arrested. The cops are dragging him off.
Oh,
I
God,
don't know how long that particular thing worked, but it's worth checking him out. Jack Monday, spelt with a U, Mundy. You should check him out on Wikipedia because he is an
Yeah, they do
important
really
Australian icon.
This guy's not so much. Alan Jones, you either love him or you hate him.
Well, he's lost all his feathers. He's called the canary, isn't it? Or he's got the canary,
The
is it?
parrot.
The parrot. And of course, they've got the microphone aimed at his backside, and he is an old fart. He's an old
Yes.
fart. But I mean, I think that that cartoon, I mean, love him or hate him. I mean, the point is, the reason he's getting off radio is not because of his health, as he claims. It's because they've tried lots of times to complain about him over the years, but this time they had an organised situation to target the people who advertised on his radio show.
And I think when the money walks away,
That's right. That's right.
end of the road.
But he hasn't walked away from other media. He's on television as well still.
Oh, well, he watches television anyway.
Yeah.
His master's voice. Now, this is a potent statement. What does it say about politicians? That they were petrified of Alan Jones.
Yes. Well,
Wasn't he
That's the
Liberal
old
Party
HM.
leader?
sorry.
Is he not the Liberal Party leader at the moment?
Well, he had a lot of push, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's the old HMV, his Master's Voice logo for a record company. And of course, there's a ScoMo down the bottom, and there's
Tony Abbott.
you know it's Tony Abbott because he's got the budgie smugglers on, except they're smuggling more than budgies, those lot. But you've got Malcolm Turnbull, who's got his arrogant face, and he's turned his backside, and he's aiming his bum at.
Yeah, he's giving him the.
So I don't know. Did he always give him the flick, or is he just doing it now? Or what?
I think he might be giving them the flick now.
Yeah. Yeah, Craig Mann of the Gold Coast Bulletin, the return of parking
It
inspectors.
shows you things are getting back to normal on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Parking inspectors are out and about.
Just as supermarket shelves are finally restocked with toilet paper, you get all this paper.
Oh, that's very good. Normality returning.
Now, you want to explain this one?
Yeah, it's scary. It's time that we got out from under the doona and started opening up the economy again. But at the same time, there's been a lot of call for, okay, let's reform the tax reform and make changes while we can, because we are hopelessly in debt. And it's like a good time to base the new economy on common sense rather than party lines.
While government is shut down, you mean? Well,
Yeah.
like Parliament is shut down.
Yeah,
And
I
of
think
course-
that people are just saying, let's make the changes.
And
Do it different this time.
and Matt Golding's turned the doona into a colour-coded spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And of course, all
It's
the
red
people
and blue, we're more red than blue.
and all the press want to know through the window what's going on, and
Yeah.
the PM still got his head under the
He's hiding under the doona.
yeah.
And of course, Josh Frydenberg, Budget 20. The one day that I think they had a sit-in, but he
started.
he had a coughing fit.
That's right.
He couldn't stop coughing.
Yeah, and they reckon. I hope Josh hasn't got COVID-19. Of course he didn't.
He
But
was
they
tested,
found
then
they
he-
found out within about 12 hours.
Yeah, how
So-
did he get it so quickly?
That's right, and
Most people
and the
got weight
woman
too.
says worse. He's just given the budget 20, and and the little
He's got a
dog,
cold sweat.
the little pig dog says that's right. He's got a cold sweat, but the blue tie's there as well.
Yeah.
And now
David
there's-
Papers may given us even better explanation.
yeah,
Keynesian economics.
yeah. We interrupt this economic update, and there he is. It's okay, everyone. Cough, 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 and it's not. It's not COVID. It's just a perfectly normal immune reaction to an emergency Keynes transplant.
And why not? Because in the hard right circles in which many Liberals move, the name of John Maynard Keynes rhymes with brains has become a swear word.
That's because their penchant for dividing people into political friends and foes exceeds their understanding of economics. Yeah, and
very
that's
well
really look at the vomit of that's Keynes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Keynes coming out. Yeah,
Well, he was a more socialist type
yes,
economics.
yeah,
Certainly not, market-driven economics.
yeah.
And no beef.
Yeah, farmers. This is Harry Bruce from the Townsville Bulletin, and the farmers left to deal with a bull in a china shop fallout. And oh
The
my
loss
God,
of significant barley exports to China unfortunately demonstrates that when politicians make ill-considered and undiplomatic comments, obviously directed at a powerful trading partner, they have to be prepared to reap what they sow. See,
it's funny
China
because
is trying to get back at Australia because of the Australia's pushing for this inquiry
yeah,
into the COVID-19, how it started in the World Health Organization. And it's almost tit for tat from China about, you do push for that and we'll stop your imports of your beef and your barley. It's pretty...
well, it's only in certain sections. It's not completely over, but it's a symbol, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
symbolic.
It's a bit of a...
It's a symbolic protest.
A bit of a threat.
Yeah.
And two farmers there, China blocks Australian beef. No one's going to like that except in the beef. The cows. They're going to love it. They look pretty
That's
happy.
Brett Lethbridge of the Courier Mail.
Yeah. So it ain't going to worry them too much. And here he is, the fury of China, barbecuing our beef.
with our Prime Minister on the back, the Great Aussie Barbecue. John Shakespeare, the Sydney Morning Herald. China blocks Australian, but well, not exactly. Like China has fueled escalating trade tension with Australia, blocking meat exports from four of the country's largest abattoirs. 18% of Australia's beef products is exported to China.
Yeah, well, China's actually imposed a levy on the barley.
But I think the beef, like everybody in China now wants our beef. So I think this is going to, I don't know about the barley, they can grow their own barley, but they haven't got the beef, so...
Well, China's accusing Australia of dumping barley on their market.
Yeah.
And of course, Warren sums it up, bats again,
Yeah,
and monkeys.
This is the Daily Telegraph in Sydney. The Beijing wet market, eat them alive. And the monkey and...
So they added the Australian farmer to the menu.
Yeah, eat them alive, and the bats and the
Now,
pig.
which one's that with just the eyes?
I don't know. That's who knows. That's the unknown, whatever they're cooking,
Maybe that could be a COVID.
And is that a fish down the bottom? Is that a fish?
No,
In front of the pig?
Yeah.
Looks like a fish or something. And you got the duck, you got the Peking duck hanging there. But that's dead. Look at its eyes.
Yeah. Tongue hanging out.
Yeah, that's dead. Yeah.
Everything goes.
But the poor old farmer. Yeah.
Fair game. And the ambassador says the Australians still have a bone to pick with us, sir. And of course, the Premier says, tell him we don't want no beef. Now, is he saying no beef, no argument, or no beef?
Yeah, Johannes Leek, the Australian. His stuff looks a lot like his dad in structure too, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think he must have been a big influence on him.
Yeah.
But he...
Well, he's got time to develop.
Yeah, he's got...
You've got to break away from the man.
Now, David Pope, he's having to go at the government about their lack of funding for universities, and the JobKeeper wasn't offered to...
education, higher education, or the students or anything. So, and it's
foreign
got the
students.
innovation-led recovery and higher ed. They're the engines on this wrecked plane that have been turned into wheels, which is very...
And there ain't no private demand. It's dead.
It's a dead donkey dragging everything.
Yeah.
And they're sitting at front. They've kicked out the back. They've kicked out, I'd say, their passengers.
Well, that's like they probably the students who fee-paying
That's
students.
probably right. Yeah, I think you might be on the money there.
Who
Yeah.
pretty much fund the university these days.
And, was it a mistake excluding universities from job keeping? And he says, how else will they know, know-it-alls learn their proper place? I mean, I think this is incredible because the thing is, the second biggest thing besides mining that makes money for this country is education.
Yeah.
And by not, it's just short term. It's just very short term. I think they're going to have bigger problems. They're going to have enough problems trying to get back on track, but I think this is going to really wreck them.
Well, if they don't get the Chinese, Asian or foreign students, come in here,
they're all shafted. These students.
paying,
I mean, they've got no money. They've got no money. They'll probably get some money from home, but how can they afford to live?
So it's a tough one.
And they're paying top dollar for their courses.
Yeah.
And I love the plane. Look at the plane with the rescheduled wings.
Would you love an education like that? Doesn't inspire, does it?
As usual, David Pope always has quite a few angles to his pitches. He's always got a couple of punches in there. He's never a single punch, there's a whole bunch of them.
And poor old Josh is trying to get private demand going with a rather limp-looking carrot.
Yeah.
Now, John Spooner on the Billabong economics.
Yeah, this is an interesting cartoon. Besides his stuff's always interesting because he doesn't go for the one straight gag, does he?
No.
So it's Billabong economics. This is based on the Waltzing Matilda song about the swaggy who jumped into the billabong, and he has his sheep in his in his sack, and the sheep is debt, and he is the economy, and here come the creditors who are the troopers 1, 2, 3, and of course the bullabong is already full to the.
But see, in Aboriginal culture, in Torres Strait people, they knowledge of the billabongs was really important because
More than the rivers.
yeah, it was the economic, cultural, and social. And so I think he's implying here that we got to look to our past.
Yeah.
And there was a time when Australia grew rich on the wool off a sheep's back.
That's right, and then it was mining,
Mining, yeah.
and then it was students,
and beef.
and beef, yeah. So I don't know. Well,
I think there's lessons to be learned from the past.
I think he's also referring to we should get back to doing our own manufacturing as
Yes,
well. I think.
Yeah. Be a bit more self-sufficient and less reliant on the global economy.
But it's an extraordinary cartoon because I've seen a lot of references to Waltzing Matilda in political cartoons, and this is probably the most critical and
We're going to have to talk to John.
there's a
one
lot
day
in this
about
cartoon. There's a lot in this cartoon.
Yeah.
There really is. There's a lot in this cartoon.
It's a great cartoon.
Yeah.
Zoom. We all know Zoom and Tupperware. Who in their right minds go to a Tupperware party, let alone a Zoom Tupperware party?
Yeah.
You really do know you're at the end of the
You should
end of the road.
get out more often. Yeah. Matt Golding at the age.
Get alive. Do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Walk in the garden, for God's sake. Zoom Tupperware parties. No, too much. Now, here we have
Enjoying the isolation. So this is-
restrictions being lifted and you're allowed up to 5 people.
Yeah, in Victoria, last Sunday you couldn't visit Mum, but now
Yeah.
you can. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids running up and down the street. They're obviously gone to visit Mum, and Mum's put a note on the door. And what does it say? I've
written
just
out-
popped out to reconnect with a busy and chaotic world we've all been missing since enforced isolation. Please call again. But she's at home, sitting there next to a fire, reading a book, as happy as a pig in brick dust. Look at her.
Look, the weather's cold out there. The leaves are falling off the tree. Why did she want a bunch of kids and the bloody dog for?
Yeah,
She's probably enjoying solitude.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the strange things that's happened. There's quite a lot of people who are enjoying lockdown.
Yeah.
And this is what the cartoon's called, enjoying the isolation.
In fact, socialising can be almost stressful at times.
Oh, you're kidding. You're kidding. Only at Christmas, when you have to meet them all.
Yeah, that's right. Family, when you feel obligated to be there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that about sums up the last 2 weeks.
Well, a week at least, yeah. So, okay, well, it's good to have this conversation with you, Tom.
And we'll catch up with you next week.
So it's...